Hey everyone, I'm here at the Planetary Processing booth, who have very graciously sponsored the coverage of Develop Brighton. One thing that often indie developers say is like, oh, don't start with making an MMO as your first indie game or as your dream game, you're never gonna make one. You're here with a solution of making MMO games. Where did it go wrong? What's the elephant in the room? How are you solving basically the big problem?
Yeah, so when I used to make indie games, I at one point Googled how to make an MMO, and the internet basically said, don't, Jesus Christ, don't. So I didn't, because I took the advice. After a couple of false starts, I sort of got part way there, but no, I took the advice in the end. I then went off to uni, did computer science, and I ended up becoming a distributed systems and computer networking engineer. And I was like, oh, actually, I kind of have the skills to do that stuff, the really hard tech stuff behind MMOs now. But at that point, I was like, but how could I do this in a way that, rather than just building another version of the tech that, Ubisoft and whatnot have all built 100 times, that Jagex has got in-house and whatnot, why not build a version that's reusable and sellable and something that can be enabling indie studios to actually build it. And I know a few other people have done similar stuff, there's companies like Improbable have done that sort of thing, but I feel like a lot of them missed the mark by making it kind of hostile to indies and not very easy to use and kind of expensive. So I sort of thought, well, make it as simple as possible, make multiplayer as sort of without any netcode, anything like that, do all the server-side stuff and make it as basic and straightforward as possible and work within the engines that are commonly used. And then sort of that's where we, I guess, got with Planetary Processing is it's a very simple tool. It's not got a lot of complexity from the user's perspective. All of the hard stuff is done behind the scenes and trying to make it as accessible as possible because I want to see indie MMOs because I wanted to make an MMO and I couldn't, and now I want other people to, I guess. That was a ramble and a half, but whatever.
No problem. So of course then maybe you already said you wanted simplicity, because I think most of the people are oh, I want to make games, gonna make an MMO. Is there some specific things that you're doing that are making it more accessible to not have to do with the server instance thing that you may have to deal with? What makes this more approachable, so to say, than the other approaches?
Yeah, so ours is firstly completely self-service. There's no consultation with our team or whatever, saying that we are on hand to help on I'm really active on the Discord and stuff like that. Join the Discord, by the way. I'm supposed to say that a lot. It's very self-service. It's very straightforward to use. So we have a Lua scripting language that runs the back-end stuff, and that's super simple, entity component model, basically very similar to what you would get in game objects in Unity, so exactly what you're used to. And then on the client side then, you literally just have an SDK, a plugin that you download for Unity, Love2D, Godot, Default, and Unreal as well. And it just syncs the state from the server-side simulation down to you and lets you send messages back up. And that's it. You don't have to deal with sockets or anything like that. It literally moves the game objects around in Unity or Unreal or whatever for you. Also provides you with the ability to access all the state on the server side in your C# or your blueprints or your Love2D, whatever, etc. GD script and Godot and stuff. And it's super easy to use. It doesn't use any netcode. You don't have to deal with a socket at any point. I think it's pretty easy. And as I say, it's completely self-service. You just sign up and go. It's free as well until you release your game. So literally nothing to lose.
For the people who don't know, I'm sometimes called a fake developer. I know a little bit about programming, but not that much. So one question here as well is when you talk about making an MMO, the big thing of course is server infrastructure, but there's more that comes to it than that, right? It's things like accounts. Do you handle that stuff? What are all the things basically that you take away? Because I feel for beginning developers, they often don't know what they need. And then only once it's too late, they only find out, oh, I actually need account management and sign on and whatever. Yeah. Is that included in here as well?
All sorts of extra things are included. Things auth and account management stuff is all included as part of the platform. We also do security stuff. We do attack mitigation stuff. So we're very secure. All your stuff's encrypted, etc. It's all secure and designed to be security first. We handle all your storage. Actually, we don't even charge you if your game isn't active very much. Then the storage is just sort of free. of your game state. We provide you with a bunch of like back-end APIs to help you like export state, import state, that sort of stuff. It's all sort of, there's a lot of extra things in there. And then on our roadmap as well, there's a bunch of other stuff that's like designed to make stuff easy going forward. Things that just like auxiliary features that make it easier. So things like helping with content creation, because obviously MMOs are huge, and so a lot of stuff that, like a lot of the people that...
When you say content creation, is it like making these kinds of videos content?
No, sorry,
it's more of the user-generated content and things like that, right?
So one of the things that we're finding a lot is like a lot of the games that we're seeing people build on our platform are very procedurally generation heavy, and as such, we've been starting to integrate some of those tools in to just sort of make it easy. Again, you don't have to write your own simplex noise functions and stuff. So all that sort of stuff, we're just building in as much. We're adding a physics engine soon to be included in it, so it's like super easy to do all your physics stuff with just like a baked-in version of Box2D and Bullet physics engine. So basically just all the auxiliary functions that we can, trying to make it a toolbox that's just like the MMO kit. And if you just use the MMO kit, it should be that plus an indie game engine of your choice should just be enough, I guess, is the idea. And I hope we're achieving it. I mean, I managed to get like a Unity game up and running in like 30 minutes. I mean, I don't know, it's probably flashed on the screen at some point. It looks a bit rubbish because I don't do art. And I downloaded some free trees off of like open game art. But I got it working. I got a multiplayer game that scales to like tens of thousands of people working in like half an hour. There's not really much gameplay in it because it only took me half an hour, but I definitely feel like we're onto something with a platform that really feels like it's working, and it's a quick win to make this sort of stuff possible, I guess.
Are you planning to go back and try and recreate that MMO game of your dreams as well, or you're focused a bit more just on the platform now?
So at the moment I'm pretty focused on the platform because I'm sort of head of, my job role says CEO, but I basically spend most of my time coding and improving the platform. I really would like to get to a point where when the company is a bit more mature and I've got more people hired underneath me doing like the day-to-day operations, I'd like to be able to make that passion project that I wanted to make. It was a big space exploration game, very sort of inspired by a defunct project called Limit Theory that I followed for years, and so that was sort of my inspiration. And I wanted to make that as like an MMO. I'd love to go back to it. I plan to go back to it when I can, when planetary processing is in a place where it's not as small a team. We've got a bigger number of people working on it, I guess.
So outside of just use planetary processing, do you have any other tips for people who are like, I want to get started making my own indie MMO game? Just in general, from your own experience, from talking to people who are using planetary processing, like maybe some more general indie MMO pitfalls almost.
One of the things I'd say is we're at a point now where there's a lot of tools coming out that make this more doable. And whether or not you're using planetary processing, obviously I think you should be. But I would say don't be afraid to try, because I think that we're going to see more and more of this kind of, indies breaking into this space and doing this kind of stuff over the next few years. And, get in on that. Give it a go, especially with low-risk free trial tools like us and equivalents. It's not as scary as it looks anymore. Also, procedural generation is really useful for indie teams making massive worlds. Don't try and craft Elite Dangerous size universe by yourself. I think that's impossible.
It makes sense. One final question maybe. So I think you talked a little bit about roadmap. You're still a relatively young, your website changed 3 times over the past week, so you're still very much at the earlier stages. What is the next big thing right now that you're looking forward to? You've got the base implemented of the MMO stuff. What is something that you are now looking forward to in the next few months? This is going to be a big improvement.
So the website's changed a lot recently. We've just done a big rebrand, and we've got the big space dude thing. I think he's called Space Bloke is his name. So that's all sort of changed recently. So we've been going for 2 years. We've got to a point now where we've got a pretty stable, mature platform that we're happy to share with people and get people on board. People are using it, building games on it. That's really cool. Next up, I think some of those most important auxiliary features, things like the physics stuff is really important to us, and also a couple of things to enable a couple of slightly more advanced uses that people have been asking for. I can't quite think of a term for what we're going to call it, but basically one thing loads of people have been asking us to do is have pocket dimensions inside your main world, so you can have inside a cave or a dungeon or something like as a separate session, and that's a feature we're adding, and that's a big one. I haven't got a name for it yet, so that's you can tell it's sort of still in the concept stage, but that's a big one. And then the physics, I think, stuff is really important.
Yeah. Is there a limit to how big you can be as an indie? Could you go to like Robert Space Industries from Star Citizen and be like, by the way, guys, you should use planetary processing? Or like, what is the thing? So it's very easy to get started. What is like the maximum scale? Because our audience is not purely just beginning dreaming indies. What's like the highest you've gone so far, basically?
So the scale, it does scale really well to like tens of thousands of players concurrently in one persistent world, that's cool. But the thing is, I think we're not really focusing on the big guys yet, because I think we need to really prove ourselves with a couple of successful releases from indies. And I also think indies are more important to me personally. Like the mission for me at Planetary Processing has been to enable indies specifically. I reckon down the line, give it a few years, when big company XYZ, soulless corporate entity, whatever, comes along and is like, we want to start a new MMO, but there's this tool out there. It may be the case that they go, the make or buy decision goes in our favor, and we actually, they use us. But I'm not that's not my goal for Planetary Processing. My goal is to be the enabler for indies, primarily. If you, Robert Space Industries, are watching, then sign up now at planetaryprocessing.io or join our Discord at discord.gg/planetaryprocessing. Did I do it right?
You did it. You did great. Yeah, if you're just a regular indie as well, I think that's a great place to get started if you want to dip your toes into, maybe scratching that MMO itch and not face planting. I think planetary processing is a great solution to do for that. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the entire coverage here. And I hope so. Best of luck. And maybe, you guys head into the Discord. Don't bother me with tech support questions. He's here for you. Like he said, he's here for the indies, so he wants to hear what you are talking about as well.
I'm very active on the Discord. Please join the Discord. Very happy to help, answer questions. And if you want to talk to me directly, button on our website that says book a call, and that goes straight to me. So God help me after this. But cheers. Thanks. Thank you for accepting our sponsorship. All right, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!